It's your girl, Professor Cinephile. Happy Juneteenth, everyone. I hope that you all are enjoying this day of reflection and remembrance, commemorating when enslaved people in Galveston, Texas found out that the Emancipation Proclamation had set them free. Today, I am going to review a film related to the holiday called Miss Juneteenth. I love this film and I'm happy to share it with you. So, again, we do spoiler alerts around here because I like to talk about the movies, okay? So, spoiler alert, if you don't want to learn things that are going to happen in the film, stop it here, come back when you finished, and let's get into it. I have been celebrating Juneteenth since I was a little kid, so it's a pretty big deal. And there are Miss Juneteenth pageants, in different places, and there's a really big one in Texas. And so the film really kind of looks at, Juneteenth as a backdrop, right? So there are some cultural parts of the film, you get some history and things like that. But the primary, story is really about this relationship between a mother and daughter. And so, if you've been following me long enough, you know that Black motherhood on screen is like my jam. And I really, I just, there was something just so wonderful about this depiction of this relationship between this mother and this daughter that it's really hard to describe because I just first of all it's just the realism of it, right? There are so many nuances within Black motherhood and especially relating to a daughter, and this is her only child, right? So her oldest daughter, so all the things that come with that, and then relating to each other and how they see themselves in each other, that comes through a lot. And so it's just a really beautiful portrayal of a relationship between a mother and a daughter. So, quick synopsis of the film. Miss Juneteenth is a pageant. The mother, who is played by Nicole Beharie, right, formerly of Sleepy Hollow and other wonderful things. To me, this is my favorite role that Nicole Beharie has done so far. So she's the mom, and she's involved with her daughter's father, played by Kendrick Sampson, and you may remember him from Insecure. He's great in this film as well. They have an on again, off again type relationship, but they both seem committed to taking care of their daughter, Kai. So she was once Miss Juneteenth. She was Miss Juneteenth 2004. And this pageant is designed to give people scholarships, and it's pretty prestigious. It's a really good honor. But in order to compete in the pageant, you have to go through a lot of etiquette training and social training and things like that. And a lot of it is deeply, deeply, deeply rooted in respectability and kind of like adhering to white ways of being. That's the only way that I could think of. And this is a long tradition, in many African American communities, this attempt at like getting the young girls to have etiquette and the young boys to have a certain etiquette that meets the standards of white society, right? So teaching them the difference between forks, what forks to use at a fancy dinner, how to walk with posture, with correct posture, all those kinds of things. They still go on. We have cotillions, we have balls, we have these kinds of pageants. There's still like etiquette types of programs. It still happens. So she went through all of that herself, but she did not go on to be the successful person that she was supposed to be. And there's this aura that, she's walking around almost like a woman who's been shamed, almost like she has a damn like scarlet letter on her. Like people look at her like she's let the community down because she didn't, she won this scholarship, she won this prestigious thing. And then to them, she didn't make much of her life. And she went on to have a daughter pretty young, right? You kind of have to do the math, okay? Because Miss Juneteenth is for like 14, 15-year-old girls. She won it in 2004. The story is set in 2019, where her daughter, who is now 14, is in the pageant, right? So if we do the math, she had her as a teenager, and out of wedlock. So that is considered, that's like the fatal flaw, like of a Black girl in these kind of communities, right? And I hate that we have so many Black girls who are, subjected to that kind of scrutiny and shame simply because they have babies as teenagers. But the fathers are not held to the same account. That's a whole different thing. So she's wants her daughter to be Miss Juneteenth. And a lot of it is about her own feelings of failure, that she didn't end up being what everybody thought, or even what the plans that she had for herself. And, she wants her daughter to have more. She wants her daughter to benefit from the trappings of this polite society. If her daughter can gain entrance into it by winning this pageant, then maybe there's redemption for her and her family, right? We also learned that her mother has a drinking problem, and that's been another source of, contention and embarrassment and shame for their family, right? Her father wasn't there. There's a lot going on for them. So she's putting a lot into her daughter winning Miss Juneteenth as a way to kind of regain some of that favor within the community. She works two jobs. She's waitressing. She works at a funeral home. She's kind of trying to juggle a love life. Like I said, sometimes she's on again, off again with her daughter's father, but then there's also another man that is very much interested in her. And so there's a little bit of that complication as well. So we go through this journey of her daughter. And as you might suspect, her daughter doesn't really want to be Miss Juneteenth. Her daughter is kind of doing this just to please her, and her interest is really being on a dance team. Like that is her thing. I don't know if you guys have heard of dancing dolls or what have you, but dance teams in Texas are huge, 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 and she just wants to be on this dance team. That is her dream. And so she's going through, that's what her focus is, but she's doing a Juneteenth thing for her mom. And I think on some level, she definitely understands what it means to her mom because, again, spoiler alert, when she doesn't win, she apologizes to her mother and feels like she's let her down. And that's when they have a moment where, her mother is like, I'm sorry for putting you through this. I'm sorry for trying to make you into this thing, right? Directing, there's so many moments in it where I'm just like, okay, this is a great shot. This is a great shot. Towards the end of the film, there's a scene where the mother and daughter are sitting on a bench, and the daughter is still wearing her dress from the pageant. She's eating some ribs, and her mom is kind of sitting there with her. And there's a love that is being exchanged just by them connecting one head on the other. And I just thought that that was so beautiful. And it was such a beautiful way to kind of round out the film. Their relationship, they love each other. Like they grew up together, right? And the young daughter, she's trying to figure out who she is, but she still knows that like that's her mom. She loves her mom. She holds her mom down, and she just wants to make her mom happy. And you can tell that there's love there. You can tell that it's not an abusive relationship. It's not any kind of like hatefulness or anything that we often see when Black mothers are depicted in films. We often see, there's struggle, there's abuse, there's neglect, selfishness, all these things. And so it was really nice to see a Black mom who was willing to sacrifice so much just to make the money to get her registered for the pageant, just to make enough money to get her the dress that she needed, just enough money to help her with her dancing. Like to see that, to see a mother love her daughter that way and kind of go out to try to give her all the things that she, wants for her. It was really great. This was the director's first feature film, which I mean, sometimes that's where like the legendary like jewels reside, right? In that first film, that very hungry, thirsty, here's my baby kind of project. And I believe Nicole Beharie won the Independent Spirit Award for Best Actress, or at least she was nominated. I definitely recommend this film. What I love is the depictions of African American life in Texas. This was, set in 2019. It came out in 2020. Again, we're right before the pandemic. There was a lot going on in the country, in Texas. And so just to kind of see how Black folks were living at that time and navigating things gives you a different perspective. I'm from New York City. I'm always interested in learning more about my people across the country. So I think that this film does a good job of depicting life for, certain segments of African American communities in Texas. I thought it did a good job of representing for Juneteenth. Opal Lee, the godmother of Juneteenth, has a cameo in it, which is wonderful. I love seeing her there. And yeah, I think you're going to really enjoy it. It is currently streaming on Netflix. It is a Netflix film. Um, well, they bought the rights to it, so you can watch it on Netflix. I am gonna give Miss Juneteenth 4.5 hearts. Uh, I strongly recommend this film, and it's a great film to watch on a day like today. So I hope you all get a chance to go out and celebrate Juneteenth. But also, if you're not going anywhere and you have some time, why don't you turn on Miss Juneteenth and give it some love? Again, it's a film directed by a Black woman, starring Black women and Black girls. They are the primary people. We love that all the time over here. So, let me know what you think in the comments. If you've seen it, if you enjoyed it, let me know what you think. All right, bye.